Okay, so recovery, so post-workout nutrition for recovery. We're going to talk about protein first of all, and then in the next video we're going to talk about carbohydrates. So protein is key because it's what we need for recovering our muscle tissues, isn't it? So it's our building blocks to recover, our foundations, okay, so we want that protein post-training. There's a window of around about up to 4 hours after training where we really want to make sure that we're consuming protein and carbohydrates because that's when our body's best readily available to absorb those nutrients. How much protein should we be consuming after a session and what kind of protein should we be consuming? Well, the recommendations are around 0.25 grams per kilo of body weight, okay, post-training. So for a 100 kilo individual, that'll be around about 25 grams. Now, in my opinion, post-training, that is quite low. So I would recommend anything from around 30 to 60 grams of protein. There used to be this idea that there was a limitation on muscle protein synthesis and how much protein can be absorbed for that to actually rebuild muscle tissue. And that's been kind of put out because it's not true and they found it to be not true. However, it is a good idea to break protein down evenly through the day because what that will do is allow us to have that pool of amino acids readily available in our bloodstream to be utilized for rebuilding muscle tissue and everything else that's required. So it is a good idea to split things down, but straight after training when you've hammered yourself, it's a good idea to get a very good portion of protein in so that you're ready to take that on board. So 30 to 60 grams of protein at that post-workout meal, depending on what your actual protein goal is. For me, it's 200 grams, so a 60 gram block straight after training would be fantastic because I can still block out my protein through the day and still have it basically covering the day nice and evenly. Whereas if your protein goal is, let's just say 100 grams because you're a lot lighter, then having 30 grams might be better post-workout so you can still have those frequent protein meals through the day. What kind of protein should you be consuming? Now, there is a chart called the bioavailability chart of protein, and this basically shows us how available that protein is to be absorbed and utilized. So on this bioavailability chart, the top part of this is whey protein. The most easily absorbable protein is whey protein. What is whey protein? It's basically the byproduct of cheese. So when you're turning milk into cheese, there's a waste product called whey protein. It's like a fluid at first. They scoop it up and they go and dry it out, turn it into powder, turn it into a supplement. So it is a natural product. However, obviously when it goes through a process to be a supplement powder, they do add artificial sweeteners and all the rest of it. So it's not necessarily completely natural when you get it in a protein tub, but whey protein is a fantastic option post-workout. Obviously you can get whey protein in milk because that's where it comes from. However, you get a lot of additional calories with milk. So if you were to try and get 30 grams to 60 grams of protein out of milk alone, that would be a lot of calories. Whereas the whey protein is just whey protein. It's super, super pure. So it's low in calories. So adding that to water or even to a little bit of milk would be very useful post-workout. So that is essentially your post-workout protein. You can get it through more natural sources, so you can have chicken, you can have basically any meat, any fish. That would be ideal to have post-workout, but just be mindful that if you are using whey supplementation, it's way better to use it, excuse upon, at the end of the session for post-workout rather than just randomly through the day. So using your whey post-workout is the best way.